The honourable member for Battle River Crowfoot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and certainly as a rural member of Parliament, I find it deeply troubling that it seems to be that all the left-leaning parties in this House, the only people that they can get to speak to this legislation, seem to be urban members of Parliament, because I can tell you there are Liberal members of Parliament that have a very, very different view, but the Liberals even tried to silence those opinions from being shared at committee. Censor them, Mr. Speaker. Absolutely shameful. Mr. Speaker, it's interesting because the conversation around flip-flops is quite something. Can that member at least acknowledge that they have flip-flopped so many times on the gun issue, because it was that Liberal Prime Minister, when he first ran in 2015, that promised Canadians that he wouldn't come after their guns, promised that he wouldn't bring back a front or a backdoor gun registry, bragged about being able to play with the weapons of his protection detail when he was a kid, and supposedly at one point understood. Yet now you have that Prime Minister that has said that there are farmers and hunters that will lose their guns because of this legislation. Mr. Speaker, you want to talk about flip-flops. Can that member at least acknowledge that they have flipped and flopped so many times on this issue, that they're playing politics that are damaging the rights of so many Canadians that simply are looking for security when it comes to firearms ownership, the law-abiding individuals that own those guns in our communities, the Indigenous folks that own those guns in our communities, and so many others that are sick and tired of being targeted by those Liberal partisans?
Just again a reminder to keep our questions and comments as short as possible so everyone can participate. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Speaker, the member just made my point. He's giving that false impression. He's trying to say farmers, hunters, Indigenous people, we're going to take away their guns. Balderdash, Madam Speaker. That is just not the case. Does the member not realize that he does a great disservice to the whole debate, a debate that Canadians from coast to coast are very much concerned about? They want safer communities. This legislation is going to provide safer communities, Mr. Speaker. And on the record, in terms of rural versus urban, the member might note that periodically I do get the chance to step up and address legislation. I always welcome that. I never look at it as an urban-rural split. I like to think that I'm very sensitive to all rural issues. That's one of the reasons why I spend a lot of time talking about agricultural issues.
Question.